Good evening, everyone. My name is John Becker, and I'm GLAA's Vice President for Political Affairs. And tonight it's my pleasure to talk with you about Check It Enterprises. Check It Enterprises, formerly known as the Check It Gang, started its journey over 10 years ago. It began as a group of young LGBTQ people who were living on the streets, and therefore were easy targets for harassment and violence. As many in this room may know, LGBTQ youth are disproportionately represented in homeless populations. Nationwide, about 10% of youth identify as LGBTQ, but up to 40% of homeless youth are LGBTQ. That's a huge disparity. And as you also may know, that's due in no small part to family rejection. And of course, homelessness falls disproportionately hard on the most vulnerable members of our LGBTQ family, including transgender people and youth of color. The group of young people that organizes the Check It Gang banded together, at first in northeastern Trinidad, and then throughout the city, to survive and protect each other after they were being bullied, attacked, stabbed, and even raped, often due to their LGBTQ identity. As in most cases, people who are oppressed and traumatized often exhibit behaviors that were forced upon them as victims, and these youth were no exception. They ran into a lot of difficulties and received a lot of negative press until they met mentor Ron Moten 5 years ago. He showed them another way and never gave up on them. The leaders of Check It would go on to start a clothing line, and 5 years later, open up their own business in historic Anacostia, where they make and sell clothes, and for which they raised $50,000 in remodeling costs. They also use the building as a safe haven and conduct activities and programming for LGBTQ youth and young adults. They were also featured in an award-winning documentary of the same name. The LGBTQ youth who Check It Enterprises are an inspiration to all of us, surviving and thriving and supporting each other, even in the face of seemingly insurmountable odds. It is my pleasure and honor to present GLAA's 2018 Distinguished Service Award to Check It Enterprises. And here to accept the award on their behalf is Mr. Ron Moten.
I have Day, who's one of the founders of Check It. I'm going to let him say a few words first, because I always think it's important for young people to speak. But one thing I will say, I met Check It by accident. There was a young lady who lived in Trinidad by the name of Netta who was shot 3 times with an AK-47. And hey! And I went to visit her, and her brother, Star, called me and said, "You only help the straight children. You only help the gay straight children. You don't help the gay children." And I said, "I help anybody who wants help." Star came home from prison and brought Day and the rest of her friends together, and we met at the Denny's in Trinidad, and the rest was history. And one of the things that I learned with learning their stories is that we all go through things and we complain, but I sometimes still to this day wonder how they wake up in the morning, knowing all that they go through, been through, and fight against every day. So I want Day to speak before I close out, because this person right here, we fought with each other, and because Day was going through so much, and I was going through so much, but this person right here is so strong, and one of the smartest people I've ever met in my life. And it's a prime example if you don't give up on a young person, what they can do. You're talking about young people who were prostituting, who were stealing the surviving gallery place, who were fighting, who were doing all the things you do when you're marginalized and people give up on you. And to go from there to open up a store on Martin Luther King Avenue, having fashion shows, about to start HIV testing in the building, and do all these great things, even when most people still to this day won't support them, believe it or not. It's amazing. I often, as a straight man, argue with straight people about buying Check It merchandise. You know why? They say, "I'm not going to buy that gay stuff." And I sit there and I look at them, I say, "Wow, you have on Gucci shoes. You have a Versace pocket. And you're not going to buy what? You understand?" So, and I tell them, it's not even that you hate gay people, you hate yourself. So, a lot of this is educating people. And the last thing I want to say about it is the Check It Enterprise building is not just a building for gay people, it's a building for everybody. Because I think one of the problems that we have is if people don't understand them, they would never want to be around them. So we pull people together from diverse backgrounds and and they work together on projects, and they love each other. Then when people try to hate, you have more of a tool to fight the hate that goes against them. So without saying more, I would like Day Day to close us out, who, like I said, this wonderful person who's been through so much. And I think Check is about to really do some great things. I don't think you all seen anything yet. Cynthia Bailey from Atlanta Housewives was with us yesterday. And there's a lot of people in Atlanta who want to help them. A lot of times they say Jesus was a carpenter in his own town. So he had to go somewhere else sometimes to get help. So wherever they can get help, that's where we're going to go. And we thank GLAA. We really want to thank you for this award. It means a lot, a whole lot. And I also want to recognize somebody in here. Lou, from the Washington Blade, who has been following Check from day one. Right? We love you so much. I just want you to know what you mean to them. Because before anybody picks up the ink pen, you pick up the ink pen. And you stayed with them, and that's so important. So I just want you to know how important you are. And I also want to thank the LGBTQ unit, who always comes around and is a phone call away as well.
I just want to keep it short. Anybody who knows us, my friends, and know our story, know that we came from a long. So for me, this award means a lot to me. Like, it means that I really feel comfortable in my friends. Certain things, I mean, the building per se, to me, I wake up every day. Like I come to that building just knowing that, something good will come out of it. You know what I'm saying? Like when you wake up every day, you're not where you want to eat from, where you want to sleep, where you want. That building is all I had, so I'm gonna fight to keep it. That's just me personally. So I just wish more people could support us, like we supported others. When we was out here, doing good, bad, whatever we do. But we helped one another. So it's a lot of good came out what we do. And mainly I want to thank the support of the LGBTQ Office of Affairs, you know what I'm saying, right?
You said it right.
I just really want to thank y'all for supporting us. A lot of things that started off now is because of the support of family. Decided to help us. So for me, this award, I wish I could think this about it. It's over with me. It just showed that I really thank GLAA for the award. I really thank y'all for recognizing the good that we try to build our community without that about us. But we still try. We ain't gonna get right. So thank y'all so much.